Rapids has four basic pillars that we focus on: ingest, encoding, streaming, transcoding, and delivery. We're probably best known for the ingest, encoding, and streaming, but our biggest announcement for this show actually is related to the delivery side of things. And not so much delivery to the consumer, that's not the space we play in, but the delivery from the content owners and creators to their distribution partners.
Okay.
It used to be, I mean, if you think about the old broadcast model, broadcasters sending off to their affiliates. And, there'd be a main broadcaster, they might have a couple of hundred affiliates. Now that affiliate network includes web distribution, mobile partners, sending off to Hulu.com, Verizon, all of those companies. In some cases, they have up to 700 distribution partners. So distributing that content's become more of a challenge. More and more, we're still seeing so many people distributing on tape. Tape goes on a truck, which is a really expensive proposition. Digital distribution got a good start with standard definition, but as people moved into the high-def domain, they started running into challenges with it. As they started adding non-traditional distributors, like the web folks and so on, those people couldn't deal with the same mechanisms either. So what we really focused on is sort of an agnostic distribution mechanism that can use even the public internet to reach all those distributors. So we had a product that we came out with a few years ago called Copper. It was a point-to-point solution that basically overcame the limitations that FTP had in accelerating delivery between 2 points. Next thing we came out with now at this show that we're releasing is C2. C2 takes the copper paradigm and extends it into a network mesh topology. So you can actually be distributing to multiple points in parallel. It can be using a satellite, it could be using private networks that are multicast enabled, or it could even be using the public internet. Because if you have 700 distribution partners, you're not going to have a dedicated pipe to all of them. So the goal is to make the distribution as efficient as possible and as easy as possible. I like to say that we make it as easy as instant message. We've actually taken that literally. One of the interfaces into it is an instant message client. And instead of your list of friends, you have a list of your distribution partners. You right-click, and instead of saying send message, you say send file. Grabs the file, starts it working its way out over this mesh of distribution points. And you can go onto a web browser interface, monitor its status, and so forth. So that was the first step for us in really making our delivery story robust and enabling that broader distribution. The other piece of that story is another new piece in delivery we've come out with for the show called Media Mesh. And Media Mesh is an appliance that goes on the receiving end. So if you think of, if you just want to receive as a digital media file, you can use C2 all by itself. But if you think of broadcast affiliates, they're often going to be putting that onto a broadcast server. There could be some broadcasters are still using tape to go to air. What we found, of course, is that even within a set of affiliates, there are different broadcast servers. Some have Fast Valley, Leech, Harris, so forth. And they all have different wrapper varieties. Some have different compression formats, et cetera, plus all the web formats. For the content owner, they could distribute 100 different variants to reach all those people, but that can be cumbersome. So Media Mesh, the idea is to allow the repurposing and reconforming at the edge. The content owner will send one master file, one master set of metadata that meets all the possible combinations. The appliance, when it receives it at the other end, will automatically reconform it, rewrapping the server formats, transcoding if it needs to into a different format, play out to tape, print to tape with deck control, play out to a broadcast server, or even play to air. So the goal, again, is to be able to automate this whole process of syndication. So whether it's ad spots, standard def content, high def content, even digital cinema, once the content owner sends it out, it's all received and automatically conformed at the other end without any manual intervention required. People have asked us about the high def side of it because they have encountered that as a problem. And when we first created Copper, its goal was to move uncompressed high def frames around for production. So the fact that you're distributing a finished piece now in a compressed HD form, relatively easy. So I started at the end of the workflow just because that's our newest and most paradigm shifting product. But of course, we've also got some incremental upgrades in our other pillars as well. On the transcoding side, the new version of Transcode Manager. One of the biggest things we've added is automated QC to the process. We've got customers pumping out thousands of files every day, and QC still being a largely manual process in some areas. Automating the workflow on that is a huge time saver and also guarantees a better quality experience on the way out. We looked at whether to develop our own sort of conformance checking and quality checking, But there are some companies in the industry that this is exactly what they do. So rather than reinvent the wheel, we partnered with Tektronix with their Cerify products, Intera Systems with Baton, so that if those devices are on the network, all of our output can be sent through those devices, automatically QC'd, reported back, and then it can affect the next workflow step from there. On the live streaming side, one of the things we've sort of avoided playing the game on is a sort of nebulous definition of what high definition is on the web. Some people use it to refer to anything that's higher than standard definition, or bit rates or resolution. Well, we're finally in a position where we can do true 1920 by 1080, 30 frame a second for North America, 25 elsewhere, to the web. And one of the new models of live encoder that we released is a high definition model that does exactly that to Adobe Flash and other web-based H.264 technologies. On top of that, we built new functionality into our Broadcast Manager software, which is for managing multiple live streaming encoders. The goal of that all along was to sort of replicate the broadcast control room experience for multi-channel internet TV and IPTV deployments. With this, we've actually brought it even closer into the broadcast paradigm with things like SNMP support, so it can be integrated in with the broadcast operations center. Last but not least, on the live streaming side of things, we announced support for Microsoft's new smooth streaming technology. I don't know if you're familiar at all with smooth streaming yet, but one of the sort of impediments to higher quality video on the web has been that if your bandwidth chokes up, your PC chokes up, your stream never really recovers. You don't get this consistency of experience. And Microsoft Smooth Streaming, Adobe Dynamic Streaming, different approaches to an adaptive streaming technology that constantly monitors the quality of experience the user is getting and can report back to the server to switch to a different lower bandwidth stream or low resolution stream, so that rather than choking up, you're getting a smooth experience all the way through. Possibly a low resolution, but that's still better than missing a key goal or something like that in the live experience. Last but not least, what we're known for best probably is the encoding and ingest side of things. And we've added new features, new formats, reaching new opportunities. What it did for us, though, is also reposition us a bit. We've always been on the edge of the facility, so that finished content outgoing to distribution in multiple formats. What we've added now are some of the production formats. Avid DNX HD, we can support the ProRes filters from Apple, Dolby Digital Plus, bringing us more into the core of the production operation as well. So ingest for production and right in the production pipeline instead of just on the outgoing edge. So that, in a nutshell, is what's new at Digital Rapids at NAB. A few new things. And thank you.